Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back into the video, and today we're gonna get back in to swing of things because I'm gonna do my Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 review of episode 102. I've been very, very busy as of late. I haven't been able to do that much videos as of late. So, I don't know how many more I will do, but I'll try to do as many episode reviews as I can, as I can't do as much as anymore as I used to be able to do. And we'll see where it goes. But, anyways. So, episode 102 starts off, because it's finally out on Google somewhere, to watch. Okay, so, episode 102 is, starting off where Yuya left off, where he's ready to duel Kite. Now, I'm all for localizing names there. I'm almost sure that Kite's name is not Kite in Japan. But, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that, by the way. But, if it is a localized name, it's kind of a cheesy name. Then again, it's I think, a step up from Zuzu, since Zuzu was from the Avatar The Last Airbender. It's just some little made-up nickname for, Zuko in Avatar The Last Airbender. But, Zuzu's kind of grown on me at this point. But anyways, so Kite challenges Yuya to a duel because he insists that he's from Duel Academy. So they're gonna duel. Yuya throughout the whole duel is basically trying to convince him that he's not the enemy. Oh, and still we haven't gotten Alexis Rose yet. Darn it. I know. I'm just counting down the days of when Alexis Rose shows up. I don't know when it is, because I don't watch the Japanese version, but I'm really looking forward to that. And where the hell is Sora? Like, I want Sora back. Sora's the best character in this show. Like, the best new character in this show. Like, I mean, oh my god, he is so awesome. And, like, I don't really say that much about, like, side characters here, but oh my god, Sora is, like, the best. Like, he is the best character, the best new character in this show. Once Alexis comes, all bets are off, but she's a spin-off from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, so, I mean, like, even though this isn't the same Alexis Rose from GX, it's kind of like post-Crisis Batman and New 52 Batman. This Alexis Rose is not the same Alexis Rose as the Alexis Rose in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but they look the same. It's kind of like that type of deal. Anyways, getting a little off topic. I just really like Sora. Sora really reminds me of Yuya from Hunter x Hunter, believe it or not. Like, I was posting this on the Funimation forums that these two really have huge similarities that I don't think people have caught on to. And their voice actors sound the same too. Like, I mean, they're different voice actors, but their interpretations of the character are very similar. Of both characters. Yeah, Sora's the shit, yo. But I want him back in here. Like, we didn't get to see Sora that much in season 2, though. I want to see more of Sora in this shit, yo. Um, anyways, in a little off topic. Kite and Yuya are dueling. Yuya's doing the pendulum summoning stuff. It doesn't throw off Kite. Kite, knows what's coming because he's seen the duel from Silvio and Gong. Um, Yuya's Yugo, I believe he was called. I think that's what he's called. Their names are so weird. They just basically have rhyme names of one another, which is just so weird. He's now like kind of like a spirit, because he's the Xyz Yuya. Basically, Yuya. It's weird because there's four dimensions, and Yuya is the Yuya of the Earth dimension or the regular dimension, but Yugo is the Yuya of the Aziz dimension. And then there's a fusion one of him, and then there's what's it called? Oh shit! God, I'm drawing a blank now. um, Z's. Synchros, yeah, Synchros. Okay, so Synchros. There's a Synchro version of him too. This is the same with Zuzu too, by the way. Zuzu has different versions of herself from those respective dimensions as well. So the Aziz guy is like, fused now with Yuya, or like a spirit type thing, like kind of like Yugi and Yami, because that's just how they do this shit now. Even though the two other ones are fused into him now too, which that happened towards the end of season 2. They have yet to sync up with Yuya, which tells me that they're gonna eventually, get away from him at some point because they're not in sync with him. Especially the fusion one. The fusion Yuya is evil. He's like a villain right now. I don't know if he will turn good, but he's a villain right now. He totally is on board with Duel Academy's plans. Anyways, so you got them fighting. Eventually, he summons. I believe. He summons his dragon. Because I believe Yugo told Yuya that he was the top duelist in the dimension, and that Kite was the top duelist in the dimension. But Kite mentions later on that his friends were taken from him, and so now all he cares about is taking down the enemy. He believes Yuya is the enemy from Duel Academy. He thinks Yuya's lying, and he's not telling the truth, and he just doesn't want to hear it. And he says how they've all tried to take me down, they all failed, and I turned them all into cards. Because that's what Duel Academy does, so that's why he does it. You know what I mean there. So he, eventually, when it looked like Yuya was gonna lose the duel, Yuya picked up an action card, Miracle. He's used this before, and so, Kite didn't know this, so it can be not just offense, it can be defense as well. These action cards can be used for, which he didn't know that. Because he had claimed earlier that, I figure stuff out, and figure out countermeasures, because he had said that about the pendulum stuff. Kite eventually goes, cuckoo when Yuya does his Z summon. He summons, the Z dragon that Yugo has, and he's like, how is he able to do that? How can he Z summon? Because he still believes that he's from Duel Academy, even though in the regular dimension anybody can summon anything, but apparently in these dimensions, you can only summon like one thing, That's how it works. In these dimensions, it's like, oh well, in the fusion dimension, if you were born a fusion person, you can only fusion summon. And if you're born a Z's, or if you're born in synchro, you can only synchro, or if you're born in Z's, you can only Z's. That's apparently the logic now. Is like, oh well, that's the only way you can do this. But in the Earth dimension, regular dimension, oh, anybody could summon anything. Like, kind of a weird logic if you ask me there, but you know, not judging. It's Yu-Gi-Oh. It's card games. They if we didn't do this for this anime, then this anime would just be nothing if they didn't do this stuff. So just kind of go with it, guys. Just go with it. Um, so he's all, because he can't believe it. And then when he brings the Aziz back, because they end up stalemating because he activated a trap that basically brought both their attack points to 60,000, and they basically stalemated. Then he brought him back, or then he brought it back as a pendulum monster. He brought the dragon. He brought Yugo's dragon back as a pendulum monster, taking the spot of the pendulum monster that was already in there. But the whole thing with that didn't make sense is how is his dragon a pendulum monster? Because it's an Xyz monster. It's not a pendulum. It doesn't make sense to me. How is that magically a pendulum? That was always an Xyz card. But now all of a sudden it's a pendulum. Now it's got that little rainbow thing. I don't think it had that rainbow thing on the bottom before. But now it does. So now somehow it's a pendulum card, and because it's a pendulum card, it can have an ability, a special pendulum ability. So now pendulum cards have their own special ability that overrides the normal monster's special ability effect, because it already had a special ability according to what they did earlier, because they brought it back with his regular special ability. See, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, this thing has a regular special ability, but then also has a pendulum special ability. So he activates that, and while this is going on, he's Kite. He's just all mesmerized. Like, he's just like, what the hell? He can't be able to do this. What is he doing? And then he sees Yugo. Is like, that's Yugo's card. Is like, how are you able to summon that? And then he says, you're a thief. You stole it from him, or whatever. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then and Sylvia and Gon really don't do that much. They just kind of talk for a lot of the time. Sylvia, being Sylvia, just brags the whole time. How he's better than Yuya, even though Yuya is beating him every time. He just can't accept the fact that he's a loser. Anyways, so then after that, so then we have the interruption by Shade, who tells Kite to stop the duel. And then in the background we also had two new characters, a female and a male. Their names haven't been given yet, but they do, tell Kite to please stop. And Shay basically tells them they are allies, they're helping us, and they're helping the cause. And so Kite, after realizing this, is just, he's just all mad, and he just kind of goes a little kind of nuts, and eventually just goes away. So they didn't really accomplish what they wanted to accomplish in this duel. Yuya wanted to accomplish in this duel was to prove that they were on his side, and even though Shade, someone from the Xyz dimension tells him that they're on the side, he still doesn't even want to not only help the allies that are good, but he doesn't want to help Shade either. Who's from the Aziz dimension. So he has his own self motivations. We'll see where he decides to go with this. And that was basically the end of the episode. That was pretty much it. It was just the duel, and it ended in a no contest because there was no finish to this duel. And no one else except for the two females, or not the two females, I'm sorry, the one female and the one male that we don't really know about. These kids, I'm assuming, are just Aziz, duelists. And we'll see what happens coming up with this Kite guy and what he's going to do. And his involvement in the plot moving forward, because Kite kind of reminds me of kind of more like a Seto Kaiba type character. Obviously we can't totally put him in the class of Seto Kaiba, but he's obviously trying to take out Duel Academy, but at the same time he also is prejudging people that aren't necessarily from Duel Academy, so he's trying to just take out whoever at this point. So he's kind of not really a hero, but at the same time is still trying to take out the villains. So I don't exactly know where his motivation is at yet, but that's what we got so far from this episode. I'll be watching episode 103 very soon, too, because that episode is out. It seems like these episodes are being released in 2-episode intervals every 2 weeks, which really is kind of dumb, since the episodes are out much sooner than that. But it's the best I can do, obviously, when it comes to watching this season. But anyways, this is kind of my review of episode 102 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Hopefully in the next episode we will finally get Alexis Rose and maybe even Sora. I would like to see Sora again. We didn't get to see him enough in season 2. I want to see more of him. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or any of my other videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.